Hello, traders. I want to talk about trade arounds. What is a trade around? Well, a core position can be a trade around, or just basically following one stock, especially a volatile stock such as GameStop. That's right, we're going to talk about GameStop. And for those of you that caught the podcast with myself and Michael on Sunday, I basically discussed, let me illustrate for you, how I participated, not in the way I wanted to, in GameStop back here. I'm going to highlight this circle. I took a position getting ready with the hype, and the Roaring Kitty memes were coming out, but I'm always going to follow price, and that's going to be the focus of this discussion. You can look at headlines, memes, tweets, all that stuff, opinions. The price is the only thing to base your opinion on. I'm going to walk you through a couple trades here for lack of a better explanation. The first one, as I said, was established back here on this pullback after the gap up of initial euphoria. Okay, put the stock on the map for me, and I established a position day one, day two, and then it was announced that Roaring Kitty was going to do a live podcast or a live stream on Friday. And after hours, it was up here in the 60s. And I was loaded. And guess who went for the jugular? Guess who went FOMO? Guess who went for the moon? Guess who stuck with it? Because surely nothing could happen, right? The earnings were a week away, and the CEO, Ryan Cohen, he would never in the middle of the night exercise his right to drop 75 million shares on the market, and he did. And then I woke up, and let's walk ourselves through what kind of happened. I woke up, and it was down here in the 47s, and well, actually, here's the thing that tricked me. I'm going to open it up for you guys, and you can see it. It tricked me because it gapped down, and there we go. There's our earnings surprise in the middle of the night. It gapped down, and then it pulled right back up, and green candle way back up. I said, oh, okay, this is all overcooked. I'm just going to ride this out. I was riding this thing out like crazy on Thursday anyway. Why not ride out some more volatility? And then it started to roll over and make new lows. And I watched it bounce off my 5-day moving average and said, we'll get a bounce here. And then it didn't. And then I finally had to just cut my losses and keep what I could. Not one of my better trades, but I wanted to talk about it because there's lots of lessons that can be learned. Lesson that could have been learned was maybe don't go for the jugular next time, but this is just one of those things that people were getting into. So why not? I wanted to participate. Failed to mention that I did participate back here, and I made a lot of money on this particular first move. I was smart enough to get out in a day and a half. I actually got out in the middle of the night and got out on the open, made a tremendous trade, best trade in many years probably. So, of course, I tried to do it again, and I got basically hoodwinked in the middle of the night, and so that trade didn't work. So now that brings us to the third trade. We're establishing a new position. Now, in my mind, I thought that the price action would come into, let's zoom in here and get some prices. I thought the price action would come in down here to 20 because that was the low of this level. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off these indicators real quick because I want you to see a clean chart, something a little different. All right. So what really happened was I never got what I was waiting for down here at 20 and a half. I had a bid out there. I wanted to buy some. I wanted to reestablish a position after a big slam down. And lo and behold, we go into yesterday. I'm going to turn off the pre-market and post-market. I just want you to see yesterday because this is what I was watching. And this is what told me to wait until the price told me it was time to get back in. This is my 10 SMA on a 15-minute chart. It was just being railed all day long. Remember, I got out up here around 30, watching resistance through the price back to lows. By the end of the day, middle of the day, it really couldn't do much. It popped up, but I wasn't really ready, and I still thought we had 20 on the table. Broke down. I thought, here comes 20. My bids are going to get hit. Popped back up, so it reclaimed. Okay, first indicator of price action. It reclaimed my momentum line, which is the 15-minute SMA, 10 SMA. Then, from that point on, that reclamation became a pivot, right? What was once resistance, all of a sudden has now become support once this little hiccup happened. So that's when I said, okay, Steve, if you want to get back in and reestablish a position in this trade, you're going to have to work this 25 area. You're not going to get the 20 that you want. And back to the daily chart, I said, well, you know what? That was probably a gap fill. And so I threw my moving averages out, and this gap right there, I'll try to illustrate it. This is the gap, the price gap. Price will often come back down and fill those levels, just called filling a gap. And when I looked at the low of yesterday, lo and behold, we actually did fill that gap. So I took a position overnight, a starter position, a 1/3 position, took it home. Well, we came in today, and let's see, this is actually this was yesterday. So I took some home yesterday. I kind of got ahead of myself. This is the day split. And then I added. Once I realized that this was a pivot, okay? So to clarify, it was a 2-day slow initiation of establishing a new position. And in hindsight, it feels like I might have established and built a new base, a new position to work from on this thing. I don't know what my target is. After hours, as I'm speaking here, they've actually done a placement on their shares. So essentially, they've completed the at-the-market equity offering. So that was quick announcement and a quick implementation. And it seems to be kind of bullish after hours because we closed just around 30, and it's up around 31.40 now. So I want to let you know a third point at which I added was right here. So add one was when it broke back above the 10 SMA. This morning had some volatility, and the 10 SMA became a pivot and support. I added second, third, and then as it broke higher and pulled back, I added a third. That is a full position for me now that I want now. It's not a full position. It's GameStop, so it's probably more like a half position for a swing trader like myself. If I would normally take a 10% position on my market account value, this is probably more like a 5% position, just to offset the volatility and risk. We're up at 32 now after hours. Could be an interesting evening. So I wanted to walk you guys through why I use and how I use price to validate what's happening. I easily could have gotten married to the notion of, no, Steve, you're going to wait till 20. And if I'd have done that, I'd be kicking myself right now. I'd be pretty pissed watching it at 32 because I didn't pay attention to the price. All right, one last time. This 10 SMA on a 15-minute chart was my pivot. Entry number 1, just kind of slowly legging in, was at the close, reclaimed its 10 SMA, let the open sort itself out, and then I saw it was holding up, entry number 2, and then confirmation, entry number 3 to make it a full-size position. And now I'm back in the game. And that's how you trade around the same stock over and over. Do not chase highs, buy the lows, buy the pullbacks, the gap fills, the moving averages, whatever makes sense, but keep an eye on this 15-minute price action. It's going to help you a lot. I know this was a longer video, but I felt there was a lot to convey. So for those that stayed with it, good job. See you next time.